Well, I want to talk about scaling or even hyperscaling sustainable hardware innovation. Well, this is not an easy game. We all know that, well, I have some excerpts here on the slide. It's called hardware because it's hard to scale. Well, that's jokes. It's really more risky, more costly, and takes more time to scale hardware innovation in comparison with software, and that's why it's maybe worse to have a closer look into this. And yes, it's true. We all know that it took 25 to 30 years to bring wind and PV in the money, and this is time we simply do not have anymore to manage any transition, and that's why it's required to have it with much more pace. Good news is that we already have an example where innovation has been scaled much faster than in wind and PV, and this is in battery production. In 2017, Europe looked quite bleak in virtually all parts of the value chain of battery cell production, and this has changed tremendously. We have now projects announced for hundreds of gigawatt hours that shall be developed until 2030 by both incumbents but also startups. Alone Northvolt, a startup that we also were part in the funding history, has pledged that they will produce 150 gigawatt hours in battery cells in 2030. How could that work? Well, I admit, the push by legislation in China, the EV regulation from China 2019, and also the regulation from the EU has been crucial, but also because now we have a working value chain in battery cell production. Let me explain this a bit more in detail. An example from a potential low carbon or zero carbon value chain for food production, for mass food production, based on fertilizers made by hydrogen. So if now each party of the value chain would say, hey, I'm looking only to myself, then this value chain will not fly. The producer of the fertilizer says, hey, hydrogen is still too costly for me. The large energy storage that is required, together with the renewables, does not have a business case. And the farmers are saying, hey, I don't pay more for my fertilizers because the retailers will not pay me anyway. And the retailers say, the customer wants to have the cheapest available price. Although, I think we can be pretty sure that the customers want to have low carbon food. So it's simply not possible to buy it because the value chain is not working. But what if we think the value chain together, if the value chain joins and takes the risk and the benefits together. So working together that the customer pull has really an offering. In this scenario, everyone might step back a bit from its margins, but with a goal that the value chain could work for everyone with maybe smaller but with a margin. And this is something that is schematically put here. It's not big insight, but this is something that actually can work. And examples are, like I mentioned, Northvolt. They had from the beginning on the off-takers within the boat and also incumbents that supported them with industrialization. Another example is H2 Green Steel. They knew that the incumbents are ready to pay a 20% margin on green steel, and so they made it together with others. Hey, let's build green steel. Another example that is from our portfolio that I briefly want to present is Verkor. They're aiming to produce battery cells at 550 gigawatt hours in 2030. It was set up in 2021, early 2021, from InnoEnergy together with 3 other industrial players, and was together with a highly motivated team. And they achieved funding by Renault Group in 2021 already, and are now aiming to are on the race to build their construction line and later their first gigafactory. I put here some building blocks for scaling hardware. I think we cannot go through everything, but crucial really is an exceptional team, and in the right time, the working together with also incumbents that have the knowledge to scale industrialization. We are InnoEnergy. We are focusing around this value chain, our investments, and this makes us potentially a bit different. We're amongst the largest investor in sustainable energy innovation in the world. And yeah, thanks a lot.